Now let's look at the next set of percentages questions. The prepaid recharge of Airtel gives 21% less talk time than the same price prepaid recharge of Vodafone. Okay. The postpaid talk time of Airtel. Now we have prepaid, postpaid, and Airtel so far. Having the same, right? Some of the details given over here. Vodafone looks like quite big, but at this point, looking at these four, you should have a sense that, okay, we probably need to come up with a table, right? The reason being simple, we either have prepaid or postpaid, right? Prepaid or we have postpaid, and on this side we have Airtel or Vodafone, and there is a comparison made, right? Prepaid recharge of Airtel gives 21% less talk time than the same price prepaid of Vodafone. Can I assume a value? Yes, I can, because everything is given in percentage terms. Let this be 100, right? Vodafone prepaid is 100, prepaid of Vodafone is 100. Airtel's talk time over here, right, is going to be 21% less than this. 21% of 100 is 21, 21 less is going to come to 79. The postpaid talk time of Airtel, this one is 12% more than its prepaid recharge, having the same price. Okay, so it's 12% more than this. Below is 12% more than that. Okay, so what is 12% of 79, right? To calculate 12% of 79, what I'll do is, this from the days where, or the exam where you don't have a calculator, you don't have an IFT anymore, but still 12% of 80 is going to come to 9.6. Could be a ZAT question as well. 12% of 1 over here is coming to 0.12. So 12% of 79, therefore, is going to be the difference between these two. 80 minus 1 is 79. All right. So 9.6 minus 0.12 comes to 9.48. That's it. So 9.48 I have to add to this, right? Postpaid talk time at least 12% more, 12% more than this. 9.48 if I add to this, I'm going to get 88.48, right, over here. Now what's given is the postpaid talk time of the same price of Vodafone is 15% less than its prepaid recharge. Postpaid, this is 15% less than its prepaid recharge, 15% less than 100. That's simple, it's 85, right? 85 we've gotten. Now, how much percent less or more talk time can one get from the Airtel postpaid service? Airtel postpaid 88.48 over here. How much more do I get compared to postpaid of Vodafone? Compared to this. This compared to 85, I'm getting extra. Extra how much? 3.48 divided by 85 with whatever I'm comparing into 100%. So it's an increase. It's more for sure. It's not less. But how much more? 3.9% more or 4.7% more? That's the question over here. Rather than looking to exactly find the value, just take something in between. 4% is close to this. What is 4% of 85? Right? 4% of 85, 1% of 85 is 0.85, multiply with 4, and we're going to get a 3.4, right? This looks like slightly more than that, right? Slightly more than that, but it's more or less close to option 1 over here. So you can mark it as option 1, right? Once again, 3.4 is close to 3.48, right? It's closer than 4.7%. But you could say that slightly more, but if you want the exact value, it comes to around 4.1%, right? It's coming to around 4.1%. The closest over here is 3.9. And therefore, you mark this if those are the options. A bit of an ambiguity here, but yeah, nevertheless, this is how you go about it. On to the next question. As a strategy towards retention of customers, the service center of a split AC machine manufacturer offers discount as per the following rule. Okay, for the second service in a year, the customer can avail of a 10% discount. All right. Third and fourth servicing, the customer can avail of 11%, 12% discounts respectively of the previous amount paid. Okay, additional 11%, additional 12%. Fine. Finally, if a customer gets more than 4 services, that's fifth or more, he has to just pay just 55% of the original servicing charges, 45% is the flat discount. If Rohan has availed 5 services from the same service center in a given year, the total percentage discount availed by him is approximately. We need to know the amount. We can assume a value, right? Let the service amount, service charge over here be a be something friendly, which is 100, right? The first service charge, second service charge, all of these are going to be 100, 100, 100, 100, and 100. 5 services, right? Third, fourth, and fifth. But there are some discounts, right? Minus the discount. What's the discount on the first one? First one, there's nothing. The discount being offered is from the second service onwards, right? Here, amount paid, right? Just for a reference, amount paid is going to be 100 minus 0 is 100. For the second one, you're getting a discount of 10%. 10% of this comes to 10 rupees. And you subtract that and you get 90. For the third and fourth servicing within a year, the customer can avail of 11% and 12% discounts respectively of the previous amount paid. Now I'm getting 11% for the third on the previous amount paid. What's the previous amount paid? 90. On 90, I get minus 11% of 90, which is going to be 9.9. So if I subtract 9.9, right? Subtract 9.9, that is what I have to pay now, right? Minus 11% of this, right? So subtract 9.9, it comes to 80.1. But in effective terms, it should have been 100. I paid 80.1. So total discount on the third servicing is 19.9, right? Do not write 9.9 directly. 100 minus 9.9 is coming to 90.1. No. What I have to pay, right? What I have to pay is 11% less than the previous. On 90, 11% less is coming to 80.1. That's what I'm paying. But the discount I've received is 100 minus 80.1, which is 19.9. Likewise, for the next one, I need to pay 12% less than this. 12% of 80 is 9.6, right? If I subtract that, it comes to around, just subtract a 10, 70.1, and then add a bit back, add 0.4 back, you get 70.5. The fourth one, the discount over here is coming to 29.5, right? So once again, we subtracted a 10 over here. This was 10% discount. This was 11% on the previous. This was 12% on the previous, right? And what do we get over here? This is going to be a flat. I have to pay just 55% over here, 55% of 100. 45 is the discount. What's the total discount received so far? That's the sum total of all of this. Assume this 0.1 and 0.5 more, 0.6 extra. If I'm adding a plus 0.6, it's going to come to 20 and 30, 50, 60 and 105. Subtract the 0.6, 104.4. Right, that's going to be the total. That's slightly quicker way of adding these up. Once you found this 104.4 on the total amount paid is what was supposed to have been paid is 500. You didn't pay 500, you paid 104.4 less. So what is the total discount percentage multiplied with 100%? 104.4 divided by 5, that's going to be 20. 25 is 100, right? And then 4.4 by 5, right? Or you just put a point and then you get a 20.88%. Option 2 becomes the answer here. In view of the present global financial crisis, the finance minister decided to slash the excise duties to boost demand and propel economic growth. The excise duty on cement was reduced by 30% of its present amount, the duty component, okay, to boost the spending in the infrastructure. What should be the percentage increase in consumption so that the revenue of the government remains unchanged, right? Revenue of the government is what? The excise duty amount, right? Excise duty amount. Excise duty is going to be like a flat percentage which is going to be imposed. Let's say excise, so X percent on whatever amount purchased, right, is going to be is going to be the excise duty, right? So X by 100 into the amount which people have purchased, right? Spending over here into the spending by the people is going to be the revenue for the government, right? Now, if X over here is going up by, or rather, sorry, that is going down by 30%, was reduced by 30%, right? One value is reduced by 30%. The other value is going to go up by some percentage in order for what? In order for the revenue of the government to be unchanged. Product is constant. If in one case, if there is a decrease by 3 by 10, right? 3 by 10, the other should be an increase by, we've seen that in the product constancy part, increase by 3 by, you don't have an arrow here, so subtract 10 minus 3, right? Decrease of A by B is increase by A by B minus A, right? A by B minus A. So what do you have over here? So 3 by 10 minus 3 and comes to 3 by 7. Now, which of these is going to be 3 by 7 as a percentage, right? This is coming to 0.428571 and goes on, right? That's going to be 42, 6 by 7 percentage. Or another way of doing it is also quite simple, right? What is the ratio of earlier and present, right? Present after the change. The ratio of the excise duty, right? Excise duty over here. Earlier it used to be 100, it now is 30 less, right? Just 70. So 10 is to 7. I have to multiply this with something so that I get the ratio of what the spending is 1 is to 1, or rather the revenue is 1 is to 1. If the ratio of revenue has to be 1 is to 1, what do I multiply with this with, right? What ratio of spending should I multiply it with? It should be the reciprocal, which is 7 is to 10, right? Finally, you're getting 1 is to 1 ratio. You have to multiply it with the reciprocal of this 7 is to 10. What's the increase right now in the spending component? That's an increase by 3 by 7. 3 parts as compared to the earlier 7 parts. You'll once again get the same answer here. Now, a couple of long drawn out questions, right? It's from one of those exams where you're supposed to answer quickly. It's no longer there, but still, should you attempt these questions? Reading part might take a bit of time, but attempting should be pretty quick because these are exams where you should answer quickly. Nevertheless, let's see as to how to go about this. Under the scheme Jeevan Suraksha for the people below poverty line, the central government pays rupees 6,000 to a private hospital for each cesarean birth belonging to BPL category delivered in the hospital. For each cesarean birth, the hospital gets 6,000 rupees provided belongs to the BPL category. Normally, the cesarean births are only 10% of the total births in a year. Okay, only 10% it's supposed to be. It was observed that the scheme was misused by many private hospitals, pushing the figure of cesarean births up to 45% in the BPL category so that they can make more money, which is bad. So the government wants to impose a penalty if the cesarean births are more than 10% in a hospital and deducted from the amount paid per cesarean birth. They want to impose some penalties, right? They want to make sure that they want to bring the value to around 10% because the hospital incurs certain costs. Probably the government is subsidizing it this way by paying 6,000 rupees for each cesarean birth. Fine. The government also decides to pay equal total amount to the hospital in both the situations, average 10% and more than 10%. Whether it's more than 10% or exactly 10%, the amount they're going to pay is going to be fixed at 10% of the total births. Okay. What amount should the government pay for each cesarean birth if a hospital has done 30% cesarean cases in a year? 30%. Let's say there are a total of 100, right? Total is 100. Cesarean over here is 30% of this, 30 births like that, right? Ideally, there should have been only 10%. Ideal scenario is 10%, which is 10 births. And for those 10, I'm going to pay, right? Whether it's 10 or more, I'm going to pay only for those 10. For those 10, it should have been 6,000 per birth. The hospital should have received 60,000 rupees, and that's what the hospital is going to receive. But in reality, that's a total of 30 births they've had for cesarean. It's more. So what amount should the government pay for each cesarean birth? 60,000 divided by the actual number of cesarean births, which comes to 2,000 per birth, right? So option 2 is the answer over here. Once again, the question is, what should the government pay, right? And given that the government's policy is now going to be whether it's 10% or more than 10%, equal total amount is going to be given out. Now, for an average of 10%, assuming total of 100 births, 10%, 10 births, you get 60,000. But you had 30 births, 30% is what's given here. Divide by that and you get the 2,000 for each birth. The write-up is the same, a long write-up, so therefore 2 questions over here. What is the total amount to be paid for cesarean births to the hospital by the government if there are 320 cesarean births out of total 800? How much should the government pay to the hospital? That's it. Whether it's going to be 320 or what. Now, all that concerns me is the total of 800. 10% of this is coming to 80, right? For these 80 is what I'm going to pay for. I'm going to pay 6,000 for each birth, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 8, 6 are 48. and I get 4,80,000. Option 1 is the answer here. The present value of an optical instrument is rupees 20,000. Its value will depreciate 5% in the first year and 4% the second year and 2% the third year. What will be the value? What will be its value after 3 years? Now 20,000, I have to reduce it by 5%. 5% nothing but minus 1 by 20, right? 1 by 20 of this. 1 by 20 of 20,000. Don't even need to waste time with all of these. You know is 1,000. You subtract and you get a 19,000, right? From this 19,000, I have to remove 4% in the second year, right? Subtract 4 by 100 into 19,000. What is that going to be? All right, two zeros knocked off over here. 4 into 190 is going to come to 760. You subtract and you're getting a value of 18,240. In the CAT, you can just use the calculator. But let's say this the ZAT exam or something else, or NMAT or your SNAP, right? What are you going to do? So 2% of 18,240 is the best thing. 1% is 182.4. 2% is twice of this, 364.8, right? You subtract that. Remove a 240, you're left with 124.8. You get a 17,000. The 124.8, if you subtract, you're going to get an 875.2, right? Option 3 over here becomes the answer. A business group has 3 companies X, Y, and Z and a trust P which is engaged in charitable activities. Now, each group company has to donate 5% of its own funds to the trust, excluding the loan which the company has taken from other companies of the group. Own funds does not contain loan. That means funds could contain loan. Fine. X has given a loan to Y, which is equal to 10% of the funds of Y. X has given loan to Y, some amount as a loan, that is 10% of the funds of Y. The remaining 90% with Y is going to be own funds, right? So rest remaining 90% is going to be own funds. Fine. Now, what else is given here? After receiving the loan, Y has funds which is 2 times the funds of Z. After receiving the loan, Y has funds, both put together is 2 times that of Z, right? This is equal to 2 into Z's funds. Z's funds, not all funds, okay, funds. If Z gave 10,000 as donation to Trust P, we don't have any loan amount, so should be as with respect to that. If Z over here is given, how much? Has given 10,000 rupees, and 10,000 rupees as donation, and 10,000 as donation is nothing but 5% of your own funds. 5% of Z's own funds, right? So what was the own funds or Z's funds over here? Z's funds therefore should be 5% is 1 by 20. Take the 20 and multiply there. You're going to get 20 followed by 4 zeros, right? That's a total of 2 lakh. So Z's funds over here is coming to 2 lakh, right? Only then 5% of this, which is being given over here, becomes 10,000 rupees, which is given in the question, right? 10,000, 5%. So 2 lakhs we found here, right? 1 by 20, I'm not using the steps. 5% of own funds, if you want, I'll just write it down over here. 5% is 1 by 20, always write as a fraction, take that and multiply, and you get Z's own funds, okay? So Z's funds over here is 2 lakhs. 2 into 2 lakhs, 4 lakhs is going to be Y's own funds, or rather Y's funds, right? Y's funds over here, that's what is given, both put together is 4 lakhs. What's asked over here? How much is the approximate contribution of Y to the trust P? Now, Y is only going to give from the own funds and not the loan. What is the own funds over here? 90 by 100 into 4 lakh, the total funds. The total funds was twice of this, 4 lakhs, 90% of that. On that, I'm going to give out 5%, right, as contribution. That's nothing but 1 by 20, okay? 90 by 100 over here, knock off a 0, and knock off one more 0 over here, and we're left with 4,000 by 2, which comes to 2,000, and 2,000 into 9 comes to 18,000. So therefore, option 2 over here becomes the answer. Mrs. Devi Radiograms, a shop which sells electronic gadgets, marks as merchandise 35% above the purchase price. Fine. Until 4 months ago, the purchase price of one Philips DVD player was 3,000. Okay. During the last 4 months, DV Radiograms received 4 monthly consignments of these DVD players, these prices, the average rate of decrease during these 4 months. So this 35% all I don't care about, right? I need to just look at the decrease over here. From 3000, if I've dropped to 2750, what is the percentage decrease over here? 250 divided by earlier value 3000 into 100%, right? Now 250 by 3000 is nothing but 1 by 12. 1 by 12 we know is 8.33%, right? Need to remember that. Now 2750 is further dropped to 2500. That's a 250 divided by 2750. That's a 1 by 11. 1 by 11 of 100% is nothing but 9.09%. Okay, so if you know these fractions, convert to percentage. We've seen that in the percentages lesson, module 2. You should be able to do these fairly quickly, right? There's a drop of 100 compared to 2500. Don't waste time with all of these. 100 by 2500 is 1 by 25, which is 4%. And the last one is 2250, and that's a drop of 150 compared to 2400 into 100%. Okay, here we can drop the two zeros, divide by 6, you get a 4 here, divide by 6, you get a 25, 25 by 4 is nothing but 6.25%. We need to find the average rate of decrease in the purchase price. I think it's just a simple average, right? There's no compound annual growth rate or decline given over here. It's just a simple average. I'm probably asking for 33 plus 9 is 42, 42 plus 25 is 67. Okay, and we have 8 plus 9, 17 plus 10, 27. 27.67 over 4 declines, divide by 4. 6 fours are 24, right? A point, and a 36, and a 9, and then 2, 6.92%. Probably closest to option 3, 6.94%.